Shalom everyone, and welcome to our Zohar weekly study. And today we're studying Parashat Tetsaveh. Parashat Tetsaveh, you can find it in the book of Exodus, chapter 27, verse 20. ואתה תצווה את בני ישראל ויקחו אליך שמן זית זך כתית למאור לעלות נר תמיד. We have three very important topics in just the first verse. First of all, the Zohar is telling us that the word over here, the grammatical structure of this parasha is very different than the previous ones, and we'll see why. What is this parasha about in general? So, if you're following the last few weeks, we already explained that on Parashat Yitro, we are experiencing Mount Sinai revelation, which means we are connecting to that revelation the first time in history after the sin of Adam. There is a part of humanity, a nation, a group of people that basically reconnect to that idea of the purpose of the creation as a group, as a society, together. So that process is happening basically in Parashat Yitro, which means, as we read in the Zohar, of Yitro, and also last week, when the Israelites were standing on Mount Sinai and God started to speak, their souls left their bodies, and the whole experience happened in a magical way of souls and light and the Creator and the creation, and seeing everything, which means, when you see, you believe. And the story is that it says, and the people see the voices. How come they saw the voices? When you're not in your physical body and you are in a state of a pure soul, you can see the voices, and then you can see from above every word that is given on Mount Sinai. You can see not just the words, you can see every aspect of the wisdom given on Mount Sinai. And here the Zohar gave us the story of the word coming down, and finally everybody can see how the word is engraved on the tablets, and as it's being engraved on the tablets, everybody can see it's like sparks coming from a hammer hitting the rock, the hard rock, and you see all of these sparks coming out. Same way, the people of Mount Sinai could see that every word hid behind it endless meanings of cause and effect and so on. What does it mean? They didn't just hear what we hear when we read the biblical story. They didn't hear that. They saw all the ramifications of every word in every aspect, from the beginning of the creation to the end, from the moment of the creation, and all the possible happenings that can happen to creation. I hope that this is really clear, because that is what Mount Sinai revelation is about seeing reality the way it is, seeing the matrix with the eyes of someone who already mastered the matrix, and he can see the whole program as it is in one look. Because when you're outside of the body, you're not limited by your eyes, your physical eyes, by your physical brain. However, that could not be written in just a story. So the part of the story is being written as Mount Sinai revelation in Parashat Yitro. Then it's elaborated, whatever is connected to relationships between people and in a society, the laws of society in Parashat Mishpatim. Following Parashat Teruma, Parashat Teruma talks about the ability of human beings to build a reality that is connecting the physical and the spiritual. That's why it's called Parashat Teruma. Teruma, the Zohar taught us, that is teaching us that Teruma means the use is contribution, donation, but the real meaning of the word in Hebrew, the simple meaning is tarom hay, raising the hay. What is the hay? Reality, our reality, the way we perceive it with our senses and the way we relate to it without needs, cravings, agendas, whatever is in the plane of a normal life, of a normal human being, even not normal, maybe. That is covered by the letter Hey. But as a human being, we have a mission. Our job is not the job of beasts and animals. Their job is to be part of the creation and simply multiply and fill up your destination by doing what you're programmed to do. These are animals. They usually do that. Okay? The problem is with humanity. Why do I say problem? We have free will. We are the only ones that have the free will. And because we have free will, we have the free will to simply follow the drive of the physical body and the physical reality. And because we are structured different than animals, when we do not follow our mission, and what is the mission? It's explained by Parashat Teruma. To build in whatever we do in our lives, it could be the home we build, it's a business we build, it's a neighborhood we create, to build it as a vessel, to raise that vessel, to tap into the spiritual dimension and to unite the two. And they will build me a temple and I will dwell in them, which means the light of the Creator needs a vessel. It needs to be invited in order to manifest in our realm. Our realm is a result. If you read the Kabbalistic ancient text, if we're starting from the Zohar, the main text of the Zohar, like the Idra Rabbah and the Idra Zuta, and a lot of them also in Parashat Bereshit, in the Zohar, and you have a lot in the writings of Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Tree of Life. The world has been created in a perfect state of total enlightenment and unity. To give us, humans, the free will, the world started to go down the hill purposely. It's not evolution, it's devolution, till a reality was created specially for us. And this reality is far away from the endless light, so far away, it can stay in darkness if we do not make an action and raise it to connect it to the light. When we raise it, when we raise the physical reality, the physical experience of our everyday life, and we connect it to the divine, we fulfill our purpose because we complete the process of the creation, which means the process of evolution, or basically devolution, from a perfect state of the endless, all the way down to our world that is full of conflicts, darkness, pain, misery, and all kinds of other dark clouds that make people not happy. Our job is to take that unfinished reality that was that was created after a long process, many stages. It's not easy to create from something totally perfect, something that is so imperfect. And our job is to perfect reality by joining it with the divine. And that's called teruma, to raise the hay. The letter hay symbolizes our reality that sometimes it's not connected to the divine. It's not connected to the tree of life. Why is it like this? Because the Creator created in a way so we can finish it. Which means, same way we buy toys, games for kids, even for grown-ups, that it's almost complete. Like you have all the parts, you don't have to go and collect them from all over the world. All the parts in one box, the kid just have to put it together. Or like sometimes you buy furniture disassembled, but all the parts are in one box. And you have a great feeling of putting it together and you feel like you created it. And the law is, by the way, that the one who finished the project, the one who finished the building, the structure, and brings it to perfection, that his name is on the project. It's something very important, because what does that mean? Didn't the Creator create everything? Yes, he did. So how can we call our name on what we built? Everything belongs to the Creator, because in our reality of imperfection, we can name everything we create after ourselves, because we are the ones who put it together. And the moment we put it together, we have the feeling that we are co-creators, which is essential for our well-being and to fulfill a mission. But just putting the pieces together, like in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle, just putting the pieces together is not enough. You have to put the pieces together, and then you have to raise it to the divine. And that is the message of these parashot. From Parashat Yitro, Mishpatim, Teruma, Tetzaveh, and with this parasha, we conclude the message of one Mount Sinai revelation. You read next week's parasha, Parashat Ki Tisa, only then Moses is coming down from the mount, which means we are still within Mount Sinai revelation, and the essence of this revelation is A, there are rules, B, there's a goal and there's a mission. The mission is to pour divinity into everything we do, because only then we can, as human beings, fulfill our mission. We are magical creatures, humanity, and without that magical dimension, we will always feel unfinished, incomplete, and lacking. And therefore, when we look at the great experiment that we see in the last few centuries in the history of humanity, we can see how in humanity's journey towards freedom, humanity threw religion out of the window, because, we can't say that religion of the Dark Ages was really spiritual. In many cases, it was just a political tool, even today, to control the masses, to create political power and financial power, any kind of power possible, playing with people's beliefs. So in the journey for freedom of the freedom to be happy, the freedom to create. Humanity had to get rid of religion, big part of humanity. The problem is when you throw the baby with the water, you stay with nothing, and then you get a new religion, which is materialism. And then you have to convince yourself that you can find everything you want in the physical dimension. And we have to understand that this is a very, very simple. A lot of people are scared so much after thousands of years of religions control over people's lives as a political force, abusing people's innocent beliefs, faith in the divine, and then manipulating it into using people's rights and abusing them. So people try to stay away from anything that is of God, stay away from it. So you have like post-traumatic masses of them that don't want to hear anything about it. What the problem is that you are left in a void and people are looking for something for fulfillment. And the result is that a lot of people are trying to reinvent their spirituality, but away from organized religion. And this is totally understood because in the journey of humanity, we have to reinvent ourselves. It didn't work during the Dark Ages. It's like, they were dark, really dark, and not for nothing. There was a reason for that. All the cruelty, and we can still see how whenever you see people have this faith in the divine, always someone will come and try to use that for political power or financial power. You can still see it all around us, and people try to stay away from it. And I say this is understood because these were abused before. Now, still, we live in an era that people are trying to satisfy their needs only with the material dimension, and they can't. And this is a very, very deep problem all over the world, that you see that people are not happy. Although it looks like they have everything, like never before. We've never been so rich. We never had access to resources like food, shelter, and clothing, education, information, like ever before. We are on the external aspect, we've never been better. It is like messianic age. So why is it people are so alienated with life, society, each other, the family, the community? When you don't have the divine, you're not at your best. So the message over here is eternal, is so powerful. And that leads us into Parasha Tetsaveh. So if Parashat Terumah was about raising everything around you, which is the house, the business, the community house, the gathering, like the synagogue or any kind of place of worship, and you have to look at it as a place that is built as a vessel for the divine light. Now, Parashat Tetsaveh is getting more ideas and more tools, and this is why there's a special structure. There are a few reasons for that special structure, but the first word is ve'ata, which simply in Hebrew means and you. What do I mean and you? But the structure, the Zohar says, of ve'ata repeats itself many times during Parashat Tetsaveh, and it's the only place in the Torah in which you have such a grammatical structure, which means all the orders are written in such a language Ve'ata tetzaveh means, and you will order. It doesn't say you are being ordered, you are going to order. And that grammatical structure continues a few times. It's hard to explain it because in the Hebrew grammar is very different than English. But the Zohar is explaining that, and let's read the Zohar in order to understand what we're talking about. So I'm reading from the Zohar of Parasha Tetsaveh, Perush HaSulam, the Sulam commentary of Rabbi Yehuda Ashlag. ואתה תצווה בני ישראל וגומר, ואתה אקרב אליך את אהרון אחיך וגומר. So the Zohar is giving few quotes of the same grammatical structure in Parashat Tetsaveh. And you will bring forth Aaron, your brother, and so on. But the word is ve'ata, and then comes a verb. You will do this and this. Amar Rabbi Chia, ma yishna hachami bechol atar? So Rabbi Chia is asking, what's the difference here than on any other place in the Torah that the grammatical structure is so different? ואתה אקרב אליך, ואתה תדבר כל חכמי לב, and he brings some more examples. ואתה קח לך בשמים ראש מור דרור, אלא כל הברזה עילה הוא להכללה שכינתה בהדי. But, says Rabbi Chia, all of it is one divine secret. And what is the secret? To include the Shekhinah, the divine presence, in everything you do. כי השכינה נקראת אתה, because the word אתה means in simple Hebrew, you, for male, and you can find it like, it's a simple Hebrew word. It's like every child speaks Hebrew, knows the word ata, it means you, okay? However, the word ata has a higher meaning. The word ata is made of two parts. One is Aleph Taf, et ata is Aleph and Taf. Aleph and Taf, Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Taf is the last letter. So there is a Hebrew word, doesn't exist in English, et. When you want to say, to include something, which is very hard to explain this word, is you use the word et. You don't have this word in European languages. Et means Aleph to Tav, the whole thing. And then hey, ata, the last letter of the word is hey. So what does it mean? The Zohar explains, when you say ata, in a matter of connecting to the divine, you really raise your consciousness and you're inviting the divine from A to Z, Aleph to Taf, to the letter Hey, which is Malchut. Malchut, we already learned that letter Hey is the here and now, the physical reality. So when it says Ata, it means inviting, summoning in the Shekhinah, the divine, into what we do. But the word is Ve'ata. Now, the Vav in the beginning, that means in Hebrew like and, A and D, which means you take this one and this one, okay? Joining. You don't start a story with and, right? But the Torah has no problem to do it because the Torah is it's not a competition of writing an essay. It is an instruction of how to connect to the divine. Ve'ata, the Vav means to join, but it means to join the higher realm. So you join the higher realm from A to Z, all the way down to the letter Hey. So that's the word Ve'ata. Why? And the first time it's being explained in the Torah Parasha, Ve'ata Tetsaveh. Tetsaveh means you will order, which means the message is eternal. It's not just to Moses. It is to all of us. We, human beings, have the power as magical creatures to order the divine to join the mundane, the physical, the reality that we can perceive. We are the only creature who can imagine, and with our imagination and our intention, kavanah in Hebrew, we can create that what is called merkava. Merkava, the Hebrew word merkava means a chariot, but it's coming from the word leharkiv, to compose, composing, bonding together the divine and the mundane. Okay? So this summons up the whole parasha. It's all about a human being taking that mission to bring in the divine into everything you do, which means it is all about invitation, which means when you create ceremonies, which I'm not talking about, religion, I'm talking about, these are ceremonies in which you and me, all of us, we have the power to invite the divine into our mundane. So how do we do that? So it's very, but the major thing is where it says in the Zohar, "Ve'ata hainu lichlol imo hashchina v'hatzivui v'hadibur." What does it mean, ve'ata? Include the Shekhinah, the divine presence, with the command, with the speech in everything you do. So it's not that God is commanding us, that is outlawed. Why? If we were created in his image, we cannot be commanded. So as we said before, when people say the 10 Commandments, this is a mistranslation. This is even a lie. It never says commandments. It says dibrot. Dibrot means wordings, sayings, utterances, advices, not commandments. When it says over here to command, God is saying, you will command. In this world, you are the one that has to command the light into the vessel, the divine into the mundane, the spiritual into the physical. That's your job. It's not my job. I created everything in perfect state. I created lack and incompletion. I created it purposely for you, human being, to command on it, to be complete. This is your job, to command. So in this world, who is in command? We are, which means, why doesn't God intervene in this and that, in all kind of injustice? Because in this dimension, we are the ones who command. And we, first of all, we have to develop, and that's the part of this, like Mount Sinai Revelation. You want it to be good. You want it to be functional. You have to command it. It's not going to happen on itself, and God is not going to complete your life for you. You need to take the command and do it on your own. You're not commanded to do it. It's your mission to do it, and you have to choose that. You have to want it. You have to basically realize it on your own. Very important, because if we're talking about what is the mission? What is basically what is it humanity is trying to achieve? We're not trying to achieve peace on earth. We're not trying to achieve justice. This is only a manifestation. There will be peace on earth. There will be justice. There will be nice life when we start to command the divine into our mundane, physical, materialistic dimension. That is what we are talking about. The world you can try today, and people tried for millennia. They try to create the perfect community, the perfect family life, the perfect human being, the perfect surroundings. And the journey is going like this. And there are so many um, arguments along history. What is the right way to create the most just, the most productive human life that will be which will be the best? And the answer is, it cannot happen without people realizing that if you want the happiness and the real fulfillment and the enlightenment, you have to command it in. You have to take basically the job of the high priest in your own space, which is your own life. Because most of Parasha Tetsaveh is about the priesthood. Now, if it is all about the priesthood, we're not the high priest. Neither of us. Oh, we have some people. They say today, statistics says maybe there are 200,000 people who can still trace around the world, who can still trace their genealogy all the way till Aaron, the high priest. So, is this Parasha written only for 200,000 people? That they know they are from a Kohen lineage, so they somehow, many of them, some of them, I'm not saying all of them, still blessing the people in the morning prayers in the synagogue or taking some other jobs of a Kohen. But this is, you don't write the whole parasha just for 200,000 people, among more than 8 billion humans on earth. So what is the message? The message is that all of us, we have that duty. And until we accept that duty, we're not going to see any redemption in our lives in the individual dimension. So that's very important to remember. Our job is to unite the two realities. So when we are talking about that, so let's continue with the verse. And the verse continues, it's the same verse, we just explained the first two words, right? And you should command the children of Israel, and they will take for you shemen zait zach katit lamaor, pure olive oil for lighting in the menorah. It doesn't say more about it, too much about it, but it says that in the tabernacle, just in front of the Holy of Holies, יערוך אותו אהרון ובניו מערב עד בוקר לפני השם. Aaron and his offsprings will basically set the menorah, the 7 candles candelabra, that will be lit every evening to be shining and giving its light till the morning in front of God. And that's an eternal chukat olam. Eternal, just to explain to us, it is an eternal law, the whole thing. So, what is the whole thing? So, the Torah does not extend more than that, but the Torah explains it more in Parashat Bahalotcha. When we read in in the book of Bamidbar, Numbers, chapter 8, verse 1, verse 2, 1 and 2, and it says, and God speaks to Moses, saying, speak to Aaron and tell him, דבר אל אהרון ואמרת אליו, בהעלותך את הנרות, when you raise the candles. It doesn't say when you light the candles, it says when you raise the candles, אל מול פני המנורה יאירו שבעת הנרות. In front of the candelabra, the menorah, the 7 candles will shine. And the Zohar is asking, should be in the menorah, on top of the menorah. But what does it mean in front of the menorah? How could the candles shine in front of the menorah? And the Zohar says, very simple. Come and see. בורא בשעה שהכהן התכוון להדליק נרות למטה, when the Kohen had the kavanah, the intention and meditation to light the candles below. What does it mean below? The candles on the physical, sensual, materialistic domain in which we can see, hear, touch, and so on, and feel with our senses. באותה השעה היו הנרות העליונים. At the same moment, when he had that intention, he lit the upper candles, which means the upper lights of the upper sephirot, emanations. ונקשר הכל יחד, and everything is being tied up as one. נקשר, tied up, connected as one. והייתה שמחה וחדווה בכל העולמות. And now there was happiness and joy in all the worlds. What had to make it happen? It is the physical lighting of the candles and the kavanah, the meditation, the understanding, the meaning, and the desire of the Kohen to do that job. And basically over here, we really got the answer. Why do you have to light the candles in front of the menorah? Because you're lighting two sets of candles. One is the physical candle that we're talking about, a wick that is made of fibers, let's say from linen or from other materials. And the wick is in the olive oil. And when you light it, it ignites, activates the spiritual candles that are not physical, which means everything that you do you can mirror it, you can activate something of the above. That is basically a summary of you want to achieve happiness and joy. You have to remember that you are a human being. And as a human being, you have a human soul and a human body. You can't just feed the physical body. You can't just feed the soul. You have to do it both. Feed both at the same time. So when you eat physical food, you have to ignite by a blessing, consciousness. There is also a dimension of the spiritual sparks that fell in the sin of Adam, and now they are present in the food that you are eating, and you're basically lifting them up from the inanimate or vegetable animal kingdom to the human kingdom, and then up. The more joy, the more excitement, the more kavanah you have, you can lift those sparks and correct them. What does it mean? Finally, by your consciousness, your intention, you just bring them back to their place in the context of humanity, of the creation. So this is a very important concept that is, if you want to understand why is it that people are so unhappy, and the result of this unhappiness is the creation of a whole culture that you're not happy because you didn't buy enough stuff. You don't have enough money to buy enough stuff or to spend it on all kinds of things. And then when you have a lot of this and that and so on, everything that you can buy online or go through a shopping spree in a mall or in a market, it doesn't matter what, that would not satisfy you. Or maybe eating all kinds of food. The Torah has nothing against having all of that stuff. If they give you pleasure, why not? The problem is that if you do not connect them to the divine, it will be always an empty shell. And therefore, that extremely painful lack that people feel nowadays, the more you have, the less fulfilled you are. Because if you're being brainwashed that just the physical will fulfill you, you're doomed forever, because you just live in one dark dimension. And the only way to bring and light this dimension is to expand your consciousness to the divine, to the spiritual, to the mystical. This is very important. And when you extend it to there, then you understand why to not steal, why not to cheat, because you cannot cheat and at the same time invite the divine into what you're doing. It's like, it's not going to work. So if you are really trained, as Parasha Tetsaveh is about, you're being trained to be a priest in your environment, and you are about to bring the divine in everything you're doing, in every aspect. It's your home, your things, your belongings, your place of work, your community. Of course, then you're being basically, as the old slogan, you answer to a higher authority. You don't need regulation and bureaucracy, police system, and so on in order to be honest. You don't need to be policed to be honest, because you want to feel and experience the unity with the divine. And if you're not honest, you cannot be part of the divine, and the divine won't be present in your life. So when you want to speak about why is it that people are not nice to each other, why they're not honest, why they simply don't treat each other with honesty and fairness, why is it you see always the effort to abuse people's rights, to take more than what you need and more than what you really deserve? Because when you feel that emptiness, it doesn't matter. You have what the sages are saying. You have 100, you want 200. You have 200, you want already 400. The more you get, the more hungry you become, because it never satisfies you, because you don't invite the holiness in. So how do you invite the holiness in? So first of all, it's all about realizing there's a holy, divine dimension to everything. And that's very simple. As we said, we're magical creatures, and therefore, we need to find the magic in everything. So let me give some explanations. So how do you invite the holiness in? So let's say you build a home. It's now going to be the place you live in, and you raise a family, or whatever you do in that place. So in the Jewish tradition, you do Chanukat Habayit, wrongly translated into dedication of the house. But Chanukah, like, the holiday Chanukah, it's coming from the word chinuch, which means education. You educate the house, which means, well, what is Chanukat Habayit? You come into a new place you live in, okay? You bought a house, you rented the house for long term. So you invite people, you make a dinner, you offer people the food, and everybody is learning together texts from the Mishnah, the Talmud, the Zohar, whatever, what's the consciousness? To invite the holiness in. What does it mean? Now we're educating the house. You're not just a collection of wood, plaster, concrete, iron, whatever, aluminum, glass. You are a vessel for the divine. And how do you know that? We read the text. We study together. We do a meal that is, again, what is the meal? The meal is a way to invite the divine in. So you use physical materials like food, bread, fish, vegetables, whatever. You create a meal, you bring physical people to eat physical food, but how is it called in Hebrew? Seudah. Seudah means to eat, but it doesn't really mean that. It means to support. It doesn't mean really to eat. When you make a meal with a divine dimension, you call it Seudah. Seudat mitzvah. Seudah that will unite the above and the below. So that's why you have in Judaism so many options, so many opportunities to do that. There's a Seudah for Shabbat, there's a Seudah for wedding, for circumcision, for any event. You can just do a Seudah for the purpose of bringing the holiness in. How do you do it? You get people together, you serve the food, you eat the food, but you study, you sing, and all the purpose is to invite the holiness in. Mikra'ei Kodesh, calling the holiness in. This is the story. So here, now we can understand better Parasha Tetsaveh. So it starts with the candles and the holiness of the olive oil, which the olive oil has the ability to draw spiritual light when you light it more than anything else, than other materials. Okay? Then we're talking about the clothes of the priests. Vasita Bigdei Kodesh. And we know that clothes have energy. So, if you wear the wrong clothes, it can make you feel really uncomfortable. Now, I just read a research that was published lately that different fibers have different frequencies. For instance, like the all the artificial fibers, they're made of polyester and stuff like this. They have a very, very low frequency. When you wear them, it lowers the frequency of your body, because your body has, every human body is like a battery of energy and frequencies. It generates frequencies because, the whole body is working with electrical frequencies. Now, when you wear the materials explained over here, like linen and wool, and also cotton, that raises the energy of your body and helps to seal it and build it up. By the way, the Torah says never mix in the same piece of clothing linen and wool. It's called shatnez. Never do that. And, people say there's no explanation, but that research showed that linen and wool, they have very, very powerful frequencies. However, when you put them together in the same piece of clothing, they cancel each other, which means they leave you metaphysically naked. Okay? Therefore, they are kosher clothes. If you don't know, like when you buy something to wear, and you see that it's made of linen and wool together, don't buy it, don't wear it. It's not a joke, because it really does not do the job. It doesn't raise you; it leaves you naked. Okay, so but you can wear a linen shirt and on top of it a wool sweater. Why? Because every piece of clothing you put on you creates another shield. So when we're talking about different shields, different layers, you can have a layer of wool, a layer of linen, a layer of cotton. That's okay. But don't mix the wool and the linen. You can mix them with the cotton, but not wool and linen together. It's the only thing Torah says do not mix in a. And there in a Jewish neighborhood, you can find special laboratories that check. Let's say usually you can find it in certain fabrics like suits, that the outside is wool and the lining inside is linen, or there is linen inside. And not always they write it down. So you need the kosher stamp on the suits that it's not linen and they work together, and there are laboratories who check that you don't do that. So it's not, you don't buy that. Here comes, later on comes the famous breastplate of the high priest. And the famous breastplate is, why is it so famous? The breastplate was not that big. It was like a few centimeters wide, few centimeters long on the breast of the Kohen. When the Israelites didn't know what to do, they asked the breastplate. On the gems, there were 12 gems, precious stones on the breastplate, and on it, it was engraved the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. The special weight was there's a whole discussion about how it was written, but that's not what important. We are not going to make a breastplate soon. Not me and not you. Mashiach is coming and the temple is going to be reestablished. So the people are really training themselves to do that. And you had to learn a lot about it. But the letters will start to shine. People, somebody will write down the shining letters, and that was the answer. That's how they made decisions. We don't have the breastplate today, so what do we have instead? So the point is very simple. When a person is connected to the divine, to the spiritual light, to the network of the tree of life, according to the ideas that are being explained in the last few parashot, you basically get the right thoughts, ideas, feelings, because you are on the right frequency. And when a person is on the frequency of the tree of life, the thoughts, the decision-making process will be always more enlightened. We all know that when we have to make a decision and we are being driven by fear, lust, ego, negativity, and any kind of agenda that is a very primitive, low-frequency emotion, the chances are that we are going to be destructive for ourselves and our environment. However, when we choose to connect to the frequency of the tree of life, that wholesome thinking of realizing that everything is one, everything has a deep spiritual, mystical dimension behind it. When we train ourselves daily, hourly to connect to it, of course, that what is going to drive us is not going to be anger or fear or hatred, mistrust, or... So, as I said, the connection to the tree of life is allowing us, even logically, to connect to a different frequency of thinking. We can see better, connect better, and more when we just go to the Torah study. When we are connected to the tree of life and we have the right intention of doing good, because that is, our mission, of course that the right ideas will come in. Not always the logical ones, but they are the ones that basically would lead us to be in the right place, in the right time, away from confusion, hurt, and harm's way. And that is the best thing we need to know, especially nowadays, when you look around and we realize that people in power all over the world, they simply have no idea how to deal with all the waves of darkness, negativity, and that are basically threatening our lives like never before. And what we need is simply just this consciousness of the Zohar Tetsaveh to basically be protected and be in the right place, in the right time, so we can continue to achieve our mission, making this world a better place to live in. Thank you so much.